Umbrella, light, landscape, sky. There is no language of the holy. The sacred lies in the ordinary. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the All Around Growth Podcast. My name is Rob Kaiser and I am your host. Today is, what's the date today? Today is December 29th. It is Wednesday, and this is episode number 254 of the show that provides insight and tools to build the life and homestead of your dreams. What I read to begin the show today was from the book 365 Tao, and we experienced some of the first significant snowfall last night, an indicator of more seasonal change that is upon us. And while the snow has melted this morning, I decided that reading from this book would be a good way to start the day and start the show. In this book, for those of you who don't know, 365 Tao is a treasury of life-enhancing daily readings that turns a wise Taoist light on every facet of life. Each daily entry begins with a one-word title and its Chinese character and elegant calligraphy. A brief poetic aphorism provides the theme, followed by a clear, insightful meditation on the day's Taoist principle. And this is written by Deng Ming-Dao, who is the author of The Wandering Taoist, 7 Bamboo Tablets of the Cloudy Satchel, Gateway to a Vast World, and Scholar Warrior. So let's get into it, shall we? Like I said, today is December 29th. It's the 363rd day of the year. And the one-word title is night, which is kind of appropriate because daybreak is yet to come. The brief poetic aphorism reads as follows: In night's vast ocean, sun, moon, and earth align, pulling the earth out of roundness and making tides rage. Such is the power of night. And the clear, insightful meditation on the day's Taoist principle reads as follows: Night, you are mother of all. You existed before all. You are the background, the fabric, the whole underpinning of the universe. In you is abstruse mystery, darker than the deepest water, blacker than the sleep sleeps. You are an uncomfortable fertility, a wild and uncontrollable realm from which strangeness and power and creativity and mutation and life spring. The miracle of birth comes from you, and the horror of death. That is why you both comfort and frighten us. Stars and planets are scattered through you like luminescent pearls. You string them on your current effortlessly, and pull the syzygy. And the pull of syzygy is so tremendous that the birth shape of the earth is pulled out of roundness. The seas exceed their brims, and the heads and hearts of all the creatures on this planet are made to pound and wonder in dazzled confusion. When stars and novas burst, energy untold is unleashed. Explosions of such magnitude that human intellect and instruments could never hope to measure, even if made superior by 100-fold. And yet these flames burn out, sputter, become more dim coals in the supreme expanse that is night. Night, you are mother without a mother. You are mystery and power and ruler all of the time. Wow. I don't know where to begin with that. My initial thoughts on this and the vague ambiguity that is Taoism, which is in large part why I'm so drawn to it and have been for so many years. The first thing I'm drawn to think about as we read about this today at this time of year is the holidays, right? And for me, like a lot of us, the holiday season begins around Thanksgiving. And goes through New Year's, a full 6 weeks. That's the holiday season. But the true holidays, for me, begin with the winter solstice and Christmas. And New Year's is really more of a celebratory excuse for partying, in my humble opinion. But Christmas is an interesting holiday, right? As Christians, we celebrate the birth of Jesus of Nazareth, Christ, our Lord. And I'm not so ignorant to the history of Christianity and how the holiday stems from I retract that statement. Not stems from, but is related to the solstice. And many are quick to point out, it's just related to and it stems from pagan holidays. Wow. And until we're all read up and learned on similar information and we can agree upon that which we are speaking and basing our opinions on, or at least understand that which the other is speaking about and referencing, then it's difficult to have a discussion with people, oftentimes about much of anything. I don't know completely where I was going with that thought because I'm trying to make sense of and process what we read this morning about night. It was a deep, lengthy meditation. But as I crossed the tracks and approached the stop sign here, we read, "In night's vast ocean, sun, moon, and earth align, pulling the earth out of roundness and making tides rage. Such is the power of night." One other thing that I was thinking about in that last little ramble is with regard to the night. It is always darkest before dawn, or so they say. And for many of us, experiencing change and transition in life, sometimes that change and transition is so challenging, and it requires so much of us. Demands so much of our patience, which we have little to begin with anyways. Sometimes it feels like too much. Sometimes we find ourselves falling back into old patterns of behavior, old habits, coping mechanisms. But we learn, we change, we grow. That's why we're here. That's why we're listening to this. That's why I'm speaking this. That's why we're connecting in the community that's forming. You can find that on Telegram at t.me/allaroundgrowth. We've got a good thing going, I believe. And as I've said in the past, I haven't explicitly talked about this in great detail because it's not something I'm really proud of, but I've shared it with a few people. Certainly shared it in the group, I believe, about this show. And in the past, I've had some reluctance in doing it, first and foremost, and then secondarily maintaining it. What its purpose was, what its value was, what I was actually doing. And wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's probably 15 deer back there. Luckily, it's light enough out that I should see them. They're all just grazing away in the grass, munching. Yes, it's always darkest before dawn. And in the past, where I was going with that is I haven't always been too proud of this, and I've always questioned it. And in a sense, I kind of knew what I was getting into with all of this when I started, because I had a lot of the same concerns, but they were really much larger and greater when I began everything. But this show is about providing insight and tools to build the life and homestead of your dreams. And most of what that is comprised of is me sharing my own personal experiences in doing exactly that. Right now, it's more along the lines of personal growth and development and health. That's been the primary focus of things for the past 6 months. That's especially health. And prior to that, there was just a lot of life stress and and what I'm not proud of is the way in which I was dealing with that stress at the time. It manifested in all ways, especially with the people that I interact with on a daily basis. And that includes, but isn't limited to, the audience of the show. And I think in large part, that struggle is, well, the struggle and, that is contributed to the lack of me, trying to promote and grow the show. I wasn't confident in myself. I wasn't confident in the show. I just wasn't confident, period. But that's changing. It's changing because I've been consistently trying to do things to improve the quality of my life, and ultimately realizing that to improve the quality of my life, I need to find a way to live a balanced life. And that's going to be difficult this upcoming year. I'm not going to lie. And I think about everything that's going on, and that's being planned, and it admittedly it does feel a little overwhelming. But I'm also realizing that thinking about this now and going through this now is it. Okay, I've determined that squeaking in my engine that I heard yesterday occurs when I accelerate occasionally. So, lost train of thought to conclude the show. And that's okay, because there's been several of those today. So, in a nutshell, guys, stick with it. It's always darkest before the dawn. And remember that even though, oh gosh, this noise, I'm not sure if this is being picked up in the audio, but I'm a little concerned about my truck. It's always darkest before the dawn, guys. Maybe what I'm hearing and what is potentially going on with my truck is a secret indicator of exactly that. Well, if you like what you hear, and I would simply encourage you to check out the show notes for more information on the show. And with a scheduled paid holiday tomorrow and Friday, this may very well be the last show of the week, unless I decide to do something differently and have a little surprise episode. But we'll see. If I do that, great. If I don't, you can expect to hear from me on Monday. That would be January 3rd. And until then, I hope you have a wonderful New Year holiday with friends, family, wherever it is that you're doing, wherever it is that you may be. This is Rob Kaiser, and thank you.